Chinese and Roman civilization. Chinese has distinguished itself with a creativity whose scope and technical mastery never cease to surprise. The most famous Chinese inventions are the compass, gunpowder, printing, and paper. Also, they are the first cast iron tools, invention of writing, and Buddhism was introduced to China in the first century of our era. China was at the forefront of technology and efficiency. Being French, I tend to compare it to Europe, and we are aware that the Chinese were ahead on some points. According to historians, the Chinese invention date back to a distant area. The Yellow Emperor ordered in the first millennium BC to draw a mechanical compass called the chariot indicating the south, which made it possible to orient oneself in the fog. However, the most reliable source trace this invention back to the Han Dynasty, a period of great scientific and technological with creativity, which saw the emergence of some of the most emblematic inventions of Chinese civilization. They also the establishment of the Buddhist religion, which has inspired many other Asian countries. I understood that in China was in constant search of harmony. To conclude, the Silk Road is not a Chinese but German invention, but they control the Silk Road and develop active trade with the barbarian peoples of the West. Here I will discuss about the decline of the Tang period because it's the true golden age of traditional China. It was during this period that Buddhism was introduced in China, that the Silk Road was discovered, that art developed in connection with the creative culture of the Mandarin and the interest of the government. Discovery of paper under the reign of the Emperor Oti. Indeed, there have been many dynasties in China, and so many are in decline, but I will be interested in this one because it was at the same time that as the Romans. The Han's power stabilized and reached its peak in 1400 BC with Emperor Rudi. The Han expansion brought the Chinese into contact with the barbarians who surrounded the territory. This resulted in military conflict and trade spillover. The Han and dynasty established a period of territorial and political unification, promoting exchange and technological innovation. It was only in the 2nd century AD that many Taoist-inspired peasant rebellion preceded the fall of the Han dynasty in 2000 AD. China once again entered a turbulent period of power struggle and found itself divided into a large number of small kingdoms. The affluence is felt on the modern world. Indeed, Chinese cuisine has the widest variety of dishes in the world, around 5,000. For the Chinese, it's a social event, an opportunity to show hospitality. In our modern world, Chinese food has a lot of influence. Many Chinese restaurants all over the world. If I take the example of France, I live in a small town named Fontenay-le-Comte, and there is still a Chinese restaurant. Moreover, the Chinese have invented a daily object in today's world. The first mechanical compass that's now called in Europe the GPS. The Chinese economy and ambition. The market economy makes the country more attractive to foreign investment. It is an inspiring and ambitious country that seems to lead the world with this knowledge and its people. It has become a key player in international relations. Is there a link between economic growth and religious spiritual awakening? In any case, the notion of karma, Chinese sign, and other spiritual needs are among the Chinese influence on the modern world. More than 1,005 years ago, the Romans conquered many territories and built many buildings. They were the ones who built the first aqueducts. The structure allowed them to transport water on everywhere in the city. Also, the Romans invented hygienic toilets, public toilets. There were stoves with a particularly sophisticated plumbing system that led the toilet waste water to a huge hole. In terms of agriculture, the Romans were also ingenious. They recovered people waste to fertilize the land, the compost. The Romans also invented highways. The Romans created concrete. They created this concrete with empty lime and volcanic rock dust. This concrete was used to build roads and buildings. Ancient Rome also made greatest of the crane and perfected it by equipping it with a cage. The Romans had an extraordinary artillery. The Roman army was the most efficient of its time. The decline of Roman Empire is very interesting. If we are talking about the men present at that time, we must focus on Marcus Aurelius and Commodus, great emperor. The crisis of the 3rd century was in fact an accumulation of different crises: climatic, demographic, social, military, and intellectual, which shook the emperor. The Roman Empire seemed threatened both at its border and its internal fluctuating. First, there was enduring competition between the western and the eastern part of the empire. In addition, there was the Cyprian plague, Black Death, which decimated the population of the empire, making it more difficult for Roman emperor to raise armies and raise taxes. Another cause of the decline is the barbaric invasion. It is important to remember that the fall of Rome is due to a series of plagues. To conclude, it's important to know that the Roman Empire was permanently divided. The Eastern Roman Empire will be governed by Constantinople, while the Western Roman Empire was governed intimately between Rome and Milan. The influence is felt in the modern world. Architecture and knowledge related to materials such as concrete has been a great influence for modern world. For example, the dome of the Pantheon in Paris is made of concrete built more than 2,000 years ago, or the Aqua Virgo aqueduct in Rome, which has supplied the Trevi fountain for more than 2,000 years.